Hello, I am Ricky Church for Flickering Myth. I'm here today with Titus Welliver, who plays Rorschach in Watchmen Chapter 1. How are you doing, Titus?
I'm well, man. How are you? You got a lot of good collectibles. I'm trying to see what you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
back there.
thanks. Yeah, we were talking in the chat that apparently you've got a big sideshow collection too.
Yeah, yes, I'm obsessed. You could say I'm a hoarder. In fact, I
Yeah,
fully agree with that diagnosis, which my
yeah,
wife
yeah,
has given me.
yeah, totally understand. So, Watchmen obviously was such a groundbreaking novel of its time. It's a graphic novel that defined the genre, and like obviously people still love it even almost 40 years later. What's it
Yeah.
like now to be part of its legacy as like another actor who's played Rorschach?
Well, it's a thrill and a privilege for me because I read the book. I was gifted a copy of it the week it came out, and it was a mind blower because it was
Mhm.
unlike anything we'd never seen anything like it before, and it was it had so the holistic sense of a story and social commentary, and the characters were not black and white. They were, and
Mhm.
Rorschach is certainly not a black and white character. Um, he's not he is a heroic character in his own way, but he's a byproduct of severe physical and emotional abuse, and he's a survivor of that. And his his process in obtaining justice is not always what people would
Yeah.
construe as purely heroic, but a great character, deeply nuanced character, complex, and a lot of fun to play. A lot of fun to play.
Hmm. Yeah, Rorschach is such a fan favorite, for all the reasons that you've just said. What was it like for you to tap into this portrayal? How did you get your mind into like a mind like Rorschach's?
Yeah. Well, I think what I really focused on was trying to find moments in different scenes where I could bring some level, slip in some, you know, humanity into the character.
Mm,
And if it was a vocal inflection or something, or in a way of delivering a line that had more substance, subtextually, and to try to project that. Um, that was really the biggest challenge of that, and I focused on that because when he's ranting and he's raving, that's him, on full speed ahead. That's him
mhm.
at as they say, Spinal Tap Volume 11.
Yeah, what's funny too is this isn't your first time voicing a DC character. You previously voiced Carmine Falcone in
Hmm.
the Long Halloween movies,
Yeah,
and the two of them, like, they're similar in a way that they both view the world in like kind of a black and white setting of like what they
yeah,
can and can't control, just like on opposite like on opposite ends of the spectrum, though.
yeah.
Um, do you find any other similarities between them, or like even past characters that you've played?
Um, Not necessarily between. I mean, Carmine Falcone is the kind of guy that Rorschach would kill. So yes, as far as the black and white, right? There's right and wrong, black and white,
Hmm.
and Rorschach, and that way they both had that same kind of myopic but pretty simple and straightforward worldview.
Hmm.
You either love somebody or you hate them. But no, I think comparatively, I mean, if you wanted, a couple people have asked me about similarities with Bosch and Rorschach. You know, they're both products of neo noir.
Hmm.
So in that way, they're similar. They both have traumatic upbringings, traumatic childhoods,
Hmm.
and they're also both kind of myopic in their pursuit. But no, I think Rorschach is really. I can't really think of another character that I played, that I could compare him to. He's such an individual um, character that's sort of exclusive to his own
Yeah. Yeah,
kind of
very,
world.
yeah, he is very unique among comic book characters, yeah, for sure.
Well, we never seen anybody
Hmm.
like him until Watchmen came out.
Yeah.
Never, never. I mean, some people have drawn, and I think it's sort of a piss poor analogy. They go, well, Batman is kind of. I go, no, 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 but that doesn't work. And Batman, I don't see
Hmm.
him as a vigilante. I don't have that take on him. I see him as very, very different. So I was sort of like that analogy was lost on me.
Yeah.
I really think he inhabits a space in a world that's really solely um, to him.
Hmm. For sure. All right. Well, thank you very much, Titus. Really enjoyed your take on Rorschach. Looking forward to chapter 2, how you wrap it up, and any other future projects you've got coming up. But really enjoy your work.
Well, I mean, you lost some time with the technical things. So if you have another question, fire away.
Um, yeah. Since like you're such a big nerd like us, and
Yeah.
you follow the comics and everything, would there be like any other comic book character you'd want to play either in live action or again in animation?
Look, I'm open. I'm open to anything. I've played a character. I played Lex Luthor, and I would have loved to have had more
Yes.
time to play Luthor
Mhm.
because I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of doing Titans and working with those guys.
Mhm.
And I played Felix Blake. I was an agent of Shield on Agents of Shield, and that was a lot of fun. You know, I'm just waiting for if they come at me, I'm ready because you know there are so many characters. It's like asking someone to choose their favorite child, and I considering that I have six of them. Yeah, some days one is a little bit more in favor than the other, depending on their behavior. But no, I can't think of any characters specifically. I have to say, and I feel extremely fortunate and blessed to have thus far, portrayed the characters that I have been given the opportunity to play in both universes.
Mhm. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, that's great. Thank you very much again. And yeah, enjoy. I enjoy your work. One of my favorite bits is you in Transformers, where you say to Mark Wahlberg, like, "My face is my warrant." Like,
Well, I can tell you
that's such a badass way, like badass line and way to deliver it.
well, I'll tell you a little inside baseball quickly. The way that came about years ago in the '90s, I was at a rock concert and Jack Nicholson was there, and so we were in the VIP things, and everybody had lanyards, right, with your backstage pass. And so in between sets, they let everybody say, if you want to have a smoke break or do whatever you want to do, you go outside, make sure you have your lanyard. And so he and I were represented by the same agent at the time. So I was sort of, talking with him, chatting with him. They flicked the lights and said, it's time for everybody to come back inside. Make sure that you have your badge out. Make sure you, and they
Mhm.
keep saying it over and over again. And we get up, Jack and I get there, and the security guy goes, where's your badge to Nicholson? And Jack just goes, my face is my badge, and just walks in. And that was a purely improvisation. When Wahlberg and I were shooting that scene, I didn't really have I really didn't have a response to that line in the script. And I just happened to say, my face is my warrant. It was kind of like, I don't know, it was like Tourette's. I mean, it just kind of flew out.
Yeah.
And Michael Bay loved the line, and he said, you got to keep that. And then after that, he started letting me improvise stuff,
Nice.
which is
Oh,
a dangerous
that's an
thing to do as an
awesome
actor
story.
because you can get a little bit crazy. But that's the backstory to that line. So there you go.
Hello, I'm Ricky Church. I'm with Flickering Myth here today with Katee Sackhoff, who is voicing Silk Spectre 2 in Watchmen. How are you doing, Katee?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's very nice to speak to you again. We spoke last year or the year before that for the long Halloween
Long
issue.
Halloween.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So, Watchmen is obviously one of the defining graphic novels of the genre. It's
Mm.
got such a huge legacy behind it. Like everybody who's read comics, like pretty much has read this book. What's it like for you to be joining that legacy?
Oh gosh. It's every one of these things that I do is like a dream come true, right? I was raised on the genre. Our house was full of comic books and graphic novels. I remember seeing my first graphic novel as a kid and being like, what the F is this? Because up till that point, comic books were, it's a phenomenal art and I absolutely love it. And that storytelling is something that I absolutely loved as a kid and I still do. But graphic novels changed the game, and this book in particular really did as well. And I think that it's so beloved by people. So I think what we set out to do in this one was fans are really going to appreciate, fans of the book for sure. And I'm excited for everyone to see it.
Mhm. Yeah, the way that you said this changed the game, it's like this really was one of the first books that was like, hey, comic books aren't just for kids, they can be anything. So, which
Yeah.
I think is really, really cool and very, very true about it. Just like any piece of
Yeah.
literature, anyone can enjoy it.
Yeah. I think that's what's really cool about this art form is, I go into comic book stores quite a bit. And I love what I love about them and what graphic novels brought to this world is that you can go into a comic book store and every single person seems to be represented in there. The age range is all over the place and there's men and women in there. And I love that. When I was a kid, I would be one of the only girls in the comic book store. And that is completely different now. And it makes me incredibly excited as a person who loves sort of this type of storytelling, but also as the mother of a daughter. I love that it's, although she does open the comic books and one time, she opened one of my husband's graphic novels and she was like, Mommy, it's all red. And I was like, yeah, that is a head that has just gotten blown off. We're not gonna, these need to go higher up the shelf.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
comic
I've
books
had
are
that issue with some of my kids being like, "Oh, what does this look like?" It's like, "Oh, that's nope, but that way, that's not for you for another 10 years."
I know. I love that animation and graphic novels, they're not just for kids anymore. I find that this sort of like this sort of genre or this medium has really understood that the as people age, they want their content to age with them. Of course we have nostalgia and we go back and we look at in comic books that we read as children, but we want our tastes mature, the things that we expect, we want our storytelling to mature. And that's definitely what books like Watchmen did.
hmm Now, Laurie, she's got such a complicated personality and backstory, and you've made quite a career out of playing
Mhm.
complex women, whether it's, Starbuck or Vic from Longmire, Laurie or Bo-Katan. So what is it about these characters that attracts you to them?
My father, when I first started acting, told me to figure out what makes me special because I called him and I said, everyone in California looks like me. I don't know what to do, how I'm going to make it in this industry. And I think what I realized when I booked Starbuck, this is sort of when I hit my stride, if you will, was that I had the ability to tap into a strong character's vulnerability and make the vulnerability what makes them strong. And Laurie is no different. She has an incredibly complicated life. The comparison to her mother, the not feeling like she's enough, not feeling comfortable in her own skin. These are all things that a lot of women, a lot of children can identify with, a lot of people can identify with. And I think that that's what drew me to Laurie so much, is these complicated relationships, because they're identifiable. They make our characters human. And she's no different, you know?
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. It was great talking to you again. Really enjoyed you in this movie, and really enjoy your podcast too. So looking
Aw,
forward to what you do next.
thanks, Ricky. I appreciate that. I love it.
All right, thanks. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.